Let's talk 2028. This morning, we have another sort of perfect example of this split screen Dan often likes to talk about, the 2028 workhorses versus the show horses. This week, a lot of people have been focusing on Gavin Newsom trolling the president and in Davos,
and
giving
then talking
praise
to
for
him.
the left. Say that again, Dan?
And then he talked to him, and then he met with them behind stage and hung out for a while, which is just like,
look, game recognizes game.
That's it.
There you go.
Right.
But there's been a lot of focus on him. And this morning in Playbook, there was this sort of deep dive into Mark Kelly's number. So he is apparently making it rain on a bunch of Democrats as he's looking at a potential 2028 bid, using his sort of newfound role as this foil of the president and foil of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to raise cash for the party and give it to a bunch of, candidates, committees, state parties, et cetera. $5 million, it sounds like, last year. I mean, it's funny because I think was it last year I called him my political winner. You both rolled your eyes at me and told me I was wrong. But he is clearly raising money and raising his profile based off of being, Pete Hegseth's big punching bag right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said the show horse workhorse because you have this Mark Kelly raising money. Mark Kelly, is all over MS Now and CNN. And I'm on all these fundraising lists. I get nonstop fundraising appeals from him on this idea of Hegseth, and he's under attack. And I find it fascinating. I'm not even sure he'd get reelected if he ran in 28, for reelection, depending on who Republicans put up against him. But he does seem to want to go and run for president. So it will be interesting. Newsom, not only did we have the Ken doll thing, he was out there yesterday online hawking knee pads signed by the president. You can take a guess what that might be.
It's just so tacky. I'm sorry.
Well, look, I mean, on the left, they love it because how many times has Trump made crude references to, Democratic politicians? Because it's a belittling, it's a weakening, it is you're small, right? And so Newsom continues to be the kind of troller in chief. Again, Kelly is also. At the same time, Josh Shapiro's book comes out, and Rahm Emanuel was here this week meeting with people in Washington, D.C., and he sat down with the New Dems, who are a group of moderates in the House. I think it was Wednesday night.
So there's one person?
What's that?
Was that one person meeting?
No, that's 60 people right now is what they are, the New Dems. And so what's interesting is somebody, with the New Dems said, if you asked a New Demmer for their re-election coming up here, who do you want to come and campaign for them? They'd say Shapiro and Rahm. They do not want a person in a tough seat, does not want Gavin Newsom. They don't want Mark Kelly right now. And as you keep thinking about 2028, it's that like online world and cable news world. And then the reality of who is going to actually win swing states, put new states in play for us. And the other part of this is Gavin Newsom, for those who haven't seen it, The Atlantic, I tweeted it out yesterday, has a great deep dive into Gavin Newsom's record. And that still remains his big Achilles, which is if you argue, elect me and I'll make the rest of the country like California, there are a lot of people whose image of California right now is not good.
How much do Democratic primary voters think about who is the best person to run with a swing district candidate, who has the best electability, and who is giving to candidates? Yeah. Do they care? How much do they care about versus sticking it to Trump, Dan?
So there's two different lanes right now that you're thinking of, and Sean, jump in here. One is part of between now and let's say mid-2027 is what kind of narratives do the press start to think about for you, and how do they write about you, and how do people on cable and influencers talk about you? If people start getting in their head, you're super progressive, you're not really going to be competitive. Kamala Harris's problem, right? From day one when she got on the ticket, people were like, boy, I don't know if she can win Pennsylvania and those Midwestern states. She's Black, she's a woman. Women haven't historically done well in that part of the country. So she was fighting a narrative. J.D. Vance's narrative, hillbillyology. He's going to be strong in Appalachia, strong in the Rust Belt. Once that takes hold, you have to affirmatively break it. And that's very hard. So in the shadow primary right now, all of this stuff goes into what kind of an image do people start to form about you that then the average person who's not paying attention is fed.
Yeah. I'll say two things. One, here's my best case scenario. I'll give Mark Kelly a pass to say, I'll review your file later. Like, I'm not convinced that this guy has what it takes, like, at all. And I think that what he did in Politico this morning was, I will give his team a lot of credit to not reveal your numbers, but to sell the fairy dust, to be like, hey, I gave a bunch of money to state party. That was like, they must have pictures on people at Playbook or something, because the idea that they gave him that much ink for nothing, like there was no, he
You don't
didn't
think the
release
$5 billion giving that to other candidates and state parties is?
But how do you not say, great, then show us your, like, they refuse to actually give him, what's your total raised?
It could also be, though, Sean, that he's looking to give that to another reporter to get another bite at the apple.
I've played this game for years. I mean, I just can't believe that they were bamboozled like that. To me, that was like, you basically bought the froth and not the milk. So I thought it was a brilliant, like, I'll give his team a lot of PR credit for that. But the idea,
we're going to come back to this when his numbers come out and see.
What did I say? I'm willing to give him a pass right now, because to me, the idea that this is somehow like we're getting sold, he gave a bunch of money to a bunch of early state committees or potential early state committees, to me is like, I would kill to sell that story. But overall, to Dan's point, look, there are two in every industry. I was going to sports as Dan was saying this, like, you're obviously selling the grassroots and trying to get support, but you're also selling the quote unquote, the chattering class, the experts, the pundits, the consultant class, to say, here's how good I am. And it's like, when you go look at a sports show or something, and the color commentators are like, look, going into preseason, they have a really strong quarterback. They recruited, and they're telling you, they're trying to condition everybody that's like on a fantasy football team or something to say, this is a good team to watch. This is a good player. This is why this new coach is going to make a difference. They're conditioning the audience to tell you why someone's going to be really good or bad, right? This injury, he's overcome this or that, or what have you. And in every industry, it's the same thing. And if you turn on CNBC, they'll say, like, this company's earnings report show why it's really strong, or the economy's weak because of these indicators. In politics, we have the same thing. It's the chattering class that says, look how much money they gave. Look at who they hired. Look at where, blah, blah, blah. I mean, how much they raised from hard dollars, and their low dollar giving is sustained over this many months. There's a lot of indicators that the chattering class in politics will start to condition the media with and say, this person's a champ or not, or here's why they're strong or weak. And I'll give Kelly's team credit for starting to work the refs.